All right, let's take a look at your games. I don't know what the... Actually, I should know what the order is. Let's check. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Week 1. Acadia first. Okay, we're good. Cool. All right, let's see what's up against Zelos. Cool. I like this. I'm gonna ignore the texts or the chat. Okay, so I think not like just an excellent start. We got the extra hit off, which is very nice. Our castle is slightly faster. We're also going for an archer after. We're just ahead, which is nice. This Zelos is going for a second house, which is not ideal, in my opinion. I like that you have the healthy one at front as well. Very nice. This is not ideal because the reason being you don't really get anything out of this unless you can spend the money elsewhere before you do this. It looks like that you weren't paying attention there. It feels like. I used to trade 1 for 1 and just flash out. Okay, not bad. So I guess we were macroing back at home. We were throwing down the second rack, so it looks like, which is why we didn't see that. Generally, if you're gonna be macroing back at home and you're not going to be able to pay attention, just get your units and right-click them back to your base so you don't lose them. You don't take any bad fights here. It ends up being okay, but it definitely could have been a little bit better. Actually, I could have checked with your vision. You know what? It's pretty early in the game. I'm gonna actually check to see if you were looking there or not. This is a nice little new feature. We love to see it. Okay, so we're coming in. We're seeing what's going on here, which is good. Yeah, so you're back at home, and yeah. So we were back at home macroing. So when you were doing that, definitely just take your units, click them back to your base, or even click them back to the middle of the map, and then that way you won't take unfavorable fights that you're not willing to look at, or you're not risking by not looking at. Okay, so we're gonna go for a second Rax, which is definitely something. I don't mind that. If we are going for a second Rax, we need a house. There we go. Nice. And I'd say we're in a pretty even situation. In fact, I'd say we're a little bit ahead. We are... Okay, we're going to go for this. So this is... it's definitely a build. I think this is what we decided on doing, and that's a good idea for, executing our plan. And hopefully it goes well. We'll have to find out. But not the best matchup against a 2-Rax player, but we can definitely make it work for sure. Also, I guess one thing that you're doing that you might be not aware of is you have this raider at home, right? So it's not doing any of the scouting or anything like that. I guess you're a little bit afraid because you lost the first raider. But I maybe you're afraid of losing that raider to additional raiders. But one thing is that because you saw that additional archer as the third unit out of the racks, we can be more or less certain that they're not going to be building any more raiders after the initial raiders. So generally people they build raiders to start, and then after they start transitioning into archers, they tend to not build additional raiders. So I would have been okay with having this raider. Maybe if you're not if you don't want to get hit by the archers, maybe you put right here, or maybe even right here on top of here. So the fact that we are being very passive with the raider means that we're allowing them the opportunity to go across the map and scout. So this also might be something that you're doing subconsciously. If you're thinking about doing like some sort of build like this, then you might subconsciously be that thinking, oh, I need to be very defensive, right? Whereas if you were playing just a normal game, you were just playing whatever, then maybe you would have been on this side of the mat saying, okay, what are you up to? I need to do some scouting with my raider. So it's pretty important when you're doing some sort of cheese like this is that you try not to vary the other aspects of your play. So if normally you would have had this raider on the other side of the map and trying to do a little bit of scouting information, trying to say, hey, what are you doing? Then you should try to do the same thing even if you're doing for a cheese, just so that your opponent is not aware of, hey, he's playing very passive with his raider. Therefore, it's more likely that he's going to cheese me or he's going to do something crazy. So there's a little bit of something for sure. And I think maybe here, instead of positioning our army here, we probably could have put it a little bit more forward. The reason being, it's just a little bit easier for us to deny this sort of scout. Like right now, he could potentially sneak up to the top after checking the third and flash over the ramp, right? But if we're a little bit more forward, we might be able to react a little bit quicker. Just a maybe, though. I guess one other thing is that we might be supply blocked. No, we're good. Excellent. But yeah, this raider is going to go out across the map, see that there's no third, and I bet he's going to come in and check and perhaps even get the free scout. But we'll see. No, he's going to check the other third, which makes sense. So this is the sort of play that you could also be doing on his side of the map with your own raider. But unfortunately, we do not do that. So now once he sees this, he's not going to take a third base. He's going to assume that, or at least he's going to be aware of the fact that you're going to do some sort of 2-base push, right? And this all could have been avoided, the scouting, had, let's say, you just left your raider right here. I think he would have been unlikely to go across the map with his raider. So now okay, maybe, I don't know if that was on purpose that you sent that raider in front. We probably could have double flashed and gotten a hit there. Yeah, okay. But I think he knows what's up. He knows that it's going to be some sort of push. Despite that he's going to take a third base, but that does mean that we are at a bit of an opportunity, I'd say. One other thing that you can do, it's a very small thing, but you can also keep your tech or your whatever you're trying to hide hidden, right? So the thing is, let's say you're going for a 4 racks or something. Maybe you only rally 2 of the racks up to the front and 2 of them you leave on the top of this ramp, right? So that just a frontal scout doesn't tip your opponent off that you're going for something, right? They have to keep guessing because they only see 2 racks worth of units. You possibly could have done the same thing here where you had your priest being rallied over to the top over here. And then once you're actually starting to move out, that's when you start to move out with your priests. One other thing I'd like to note is that maybe, I don't know if you're going to do this right now, but if it were me, I'd probably try to pretend at least like I'm taking a third base, right? So when this raider, let's say the raider, when he was doing the scouting, you had like a handful of archers here, you maybe even brought a worker, that maybe your opponent might have been fooled into thinking you were taking a third base. But by being so defensively and playing quote unquote just like positioning your army here and all of that, your opponent can easily tell that you're going for a 2-base sort of play. So that's just definitely a little bit of something to be aware of. He's going to go for, he's got all the scouting information that he needs. He's going to go for double tower. You are going to come in and scout this, which is nice. But yeah, once you see this, I feel like this might be a time to say, you know what, I think he's prepared for what I'm going for. Maybe it's time to transition. Maybe it's time to, I know we have a game plan and it's great to always stick with the game plan, but maybe you say, hey, maybe he already knows what's up. I probably just want to cancel all these units and take a third base and play on from there with a bit of an economic advantage. Hopefully he over defends and we'll be fine. That is the hope. It looks like you're going to take a third base either way. We are going to be a little bit supply blocked, but that's okay. And once again, this portion of our army has been kind of not doing anything. We're going to start to go across the map now. Looks like we're taking a third base at the same time, but our raider is going to lose, it looks like, because we've taken a little bit too much damage. I like that you're bringing the worker in here to do a little bit of extra damage, and we win the fight. Very nice. Very nice, and we're going to start going across the map. Now, I guess because you saw that there was a tower here, you're going to try to go into the natural base. I don't mind that at all. I think that's a great idea, because maybe there isn't a tower here, and maybe we're able to find a little bit of damage. Now, on this map, if you are coming this way, right, what are the potential surrounds that your opponent can make? Potentially can come from this side, from the top. Also can come from the bottom side. It's very unlikely they're going to come from the top side, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. But I wouldn't mind just sending a single archer over here, or if you had your raider with your army, just put it over here, just to be aware of any sort of potential surrounds. In this particular case, he's not going to try to do that. We're going to come in, we're going to see a tower, we're going to try to target down some units. A little bit of a healing ward here. There's that second healing ward. If they overlap, they don't actually do anything extra, by the way. But yeah, looks like we're not going to have the numbers. So I think this was definitely a difficult call, but we get absolutely wrecked here because he just has more archers, and we're just kind of dead. We spent a lot of time. So why did this go so wrong is the question. So priests, they get a lot of value if the units do survive and they regenerate through the healing totem, right? So right now, your opponent is at a critical mass of archers where they do 12 per shot, and he has, how many is this? 10, 11. So that does 132 damage, I believe, which is not quite enough, but he had some soldiers as well. But the thing is, if he can just target down your units one by one, that means that you're not going to be getting any sort of value out of the healing ward, right? So all these priests are basically dead weight. They're just worse archers. They have less damage, and they cost a little bit more. So obviously these priests won't be they won't be pulling their weight in this fight, right? So generally when you do go for this sort of priest sort of style, if you go for something like this, you want to be getting as much value out of the healing as possible. So in this sort of particular game, you probably should have attacked even earlier. Like go with the first priest, and I think you had approximately, I want to say like 6 or 7 archers. If you go across the map, do a little bit of damage, he probably has the same number of archers as you, and he probably, or hopefully isn't able to actually target down your archers one by one. Obviously he's a good player, he might be able to do so, but so the idea is you go across the map, you do a little bit of damage, and you try to pull the weak ones back. And then what you do is you heal them all up so you get more value out of those priests. In this particular game, you came in, you knocked on the door, but it was a little bit too late, which means that your opponent can just target down all the units one by one, and you don't get the value out of the priests, which means that kind of defeats the entire purpose of this build. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So, yeah, so you need to get value out of the healing wards, and we don't. And now we're just in a world of trouble. We're on the same number of bases, but we lost our entire army. He's going to be going for this sort of workshop as well. And our push does not work out at all. We've lost, looks like 12, make that 13 archers and 3 priests to 5 and 3. So as you can see, we're definitely behind. And we're also behind, in the tech as well. So this is not looking very good. So what can we do to get back into this game is what you should be thinking right now. So the fact that we're behind, that's a fact. We need to do something to get back into this. So perhaps if it were me, I'd probably try to go for invisibility here instead of just consistently producing priests, because maybe your opponent doesn't know about invisibility or doesn't know how to respond properly. So maybe after this after you see your units die here, you go for invisibility. Hopefully you go get like a raider in here, raider in there, that sort of thing, and try to even it out in that sort of way. That's something that I would have done. But if you're just trying to play quote unquote the standard style, you might just be a little bit too far behind to actually take this game. So this is the sort of thing that you have to, you have to take risks, more or less, if you're behind in some way, shape, or form, unless you believe that you're just like a better player overall. Yeah, so I would probably have preferred that you go for like Invis or something crazy. Try to do something to get back into it. Maybe say, okay, I need to do something crazy to get back into it. I'm gonna take a really fast fourth base and hope that my opponent doesn't actually push across the map. Yeah, stuff like that. I do like that we are gonna go for looks like catapults, catadrops, maybe even. I think that's a good idea. And it looks like even we're gonna go for a fast fourth. I also do like that as well. Let me speed it up, actually. I like the idea for sure. Like I said, I do think it's very nice to have to, you have to try to go for some sort of play to get back into the game. Once again, our raider hasn't been the most active. We had kind of kept it back at home the entire time, and now we're just sending it out to this fourth base. I do think if you have multiple unit raiders, it's good to put one at the potential fourth base locations and also at the front. But yeah, this needs to be doing a little bit more scouting. So I feel like this raider could have been. You generally want to see what your opponent is up to, right? You generally want to say, hey, are you going to do a push? Are you going to take a fourth base? And the thing is, if you just have a single unit, if you just leave it at a fourth base, they could be taking a different fourth base. They could also be just doing a push. So you don't get the guaranteed scouting information, right? It's always good to keep it alive, but at the same time, when you only have that one scouting unit, maybe it's better to sacrifice it into the base and see actually what's up. So if you had come forward, maybe you see these two racks, then you think, okay, it's more likely that he's gonna go for a push, right? But right now, you don't have any of that scouting information other than you didn't take this particular base, right? So I'd say, this raider could have been a bit more active. It could have done a little bit more, better job of seeing what's up. Yeah, that's what your opponent is doing. Excuse me. We do have a catadrop on the way for Zelos. Is going to Q fire onto your workers, but we do pull away in time. Very, very nice. That airship did take quite a bit of damage, and it looks like we are responding. I'm not quite sure. Okay, so I do like that you're not sending your entire army there, because you could potentially get, pulled out of position. Let's say if you send your entire army here, maybe his army is here and he just comes in and cleans up your natural base. I do like that because you're not overreacting to this. However, here, where can this drop go, right? If you send your army here, and he can just pick up and go into your main. So I would have liked to see maybe a handful of archers go over here at the same time to potentially box this out. Yeah, and then also, like I said, we don't have any idea that this push is coming, so we're not going to be able to be ready for it at all. Also, we haven't produced... There we go, there's that first catapult. A little bit of a mistake over here. Nice pickoff. That's a very nice pickoff. I also noticed that you actually did what I said you should do, and that's great. Excellent. And that was a nice pickoff. I also like that we're going to go a little bit risky, go for a fast, quote-unquote, fourth base, but it's not going to be fast enough, it feels like. I'm also curious why you just didn't go for invisibility. I feel like you had quite a bit of opportunity to go for it. Like maybe even now you could go for it. Like a single invisible catapult might actually do the trick. Maybe not. This raider is going to come in and get promptly taken out. That's definitely unfortunate. I think you were trying to see if he had a fourth base, but after it dies, I guess you can kind of assume that he's going to go for a push. So where do we want to defend a push is a very nice question. I would say on this map, you probably want to take this high ground, right? So if you're on the high ground over here, you can see people coming into your natural. You can also see people potentially coming in to your third base, right? And you have the high ground, which is excellent. He's not going to be able to fight up into you efficiently. If he decides to go all the way around, you're not too far away from it either. The only thing you would be very worried about is potentially some sort of drop or an attack onto your fourth base. But I don't know. I think it's better to have your army positioned on this high ground rather than right over here. Because let's say if your opponent takes this high ground, he has a lot of mobility, like flexibility in his position. He can attack this, he can rotate down, attack this, he can also rotate down and attack this. So this is definitely a very important spot to control. And unfortunately, we kind of let your opponent get it for free. But that's okay. It happens. We were pretty behind either way as well, so... And yeah, it looks like our opponent definitely well aware of the importance of this high ground here. Is going to go for it. I like that we're going to go for a cattle drop, but once again, if we had been aware that this army is here, we probably wouldn't be going for this cattle drop. And now we catch sight of this. I expect to see this come back, hopefully. Nope, maybe not. Maybe we say we need to do some sort of damage, and therefore this is the risk that we're willing to take. You know what? I don't mind it. And once again here, and once we get to a bigger army, especially in like this, all of your units are going to die very quickly, right? So unless you're playing against something that like Beast, where fights take a long time. If you're playing against Mech, if you're playing against Rax, it's more likely that you're not going to have the opportunity to get a lot of value out of the healing wards. I mean, you can. I'm not saying you're not going to be finding any value, but once again, invisibility here would have been really critical against... I don't think your opponent even got a single bird or... he didn't even research... which is something that we could have definitely capitalized on, but yeah, this is a little bit too much for us. He also has an excellent high ground here with that catapult, which means we're not going to be able to find a lot of them, or we're not going to be able to actually attack this. Our catapult drop is idle because we're busy defending at home. And that does mean we are going to lose this fight, and subsequently the game. This airship comes in. Looks like it's going to get... it's going to be able to unload, which is very nice. But our opponent is ready. And yeah, that's going to be it. We just don't have enough at home. Our Catatrop didn't do enough on the other side. And we are dead. But that's okay. I think we definitely had our moments here. I feel like this kind of speaks to... I'm not going to call you out or anything, but if I had to guess, I feel like you didn't play a lot of games with this Turax church opening, or at least it feels like it to me. Yeah, because I feel like just like the timing on when you attacked felt like it wasn't the best timing. But I don't know. I might be reading a little bit too much into this, or maybe you played against Beast, and I feel like against Beast, that was probably a good timing to attack once you had it was a bit of a larger unit count and stuff. But a little bit unfortunate for sure. But yeah, I think we definitely have a chance for sure. Maybe one thing that you look at in this game is say, hey, it looks like my opponent was able to get that scouting information with that raider. Maybe I need to deny that a little bit better next game. Or maybe you say, hey, I've noticed that my opponent didn't actually build any detection even after seeing the priest. Maybe he doesn't know that invisibility is a thing. Obviously, you wouldn't say that to most players, but someone like Zelos, who is not someone who, I guess, hasn't been around for a while, maybe that's the case for him. So maybe those are some things that you can take into the next game and try to make adjustments, I guess. And then also you can also say, hey, maybe my opponent likes to go for a 2-base sort of push, so maybe, or not 2-base sort of push, 2-base sort of start, so maybe I can do something against that. Maybe I take a greedy third, because it looks like 2-base all-ins might not work if my opponent is going to stay on 2 bases. But yeah, those are all some potential consideration that you can make for the next game. Let's speed things up. I do like that you're tried to make a desperate last stand, but that's okay. It happens. Let's go on to the next game. Ice Cold. All right, we're going to go for a little bit of cheeky. I do like that. I think saying, hey, I don't think I can beat you in a straight up game. I'm going to go for something cheeky. Great idea. And I think this should be a build order win. 2 Den versus 2 Racks. So this should be a win for us if we are able to micro. So it's going to come down to a little bit of micro. I don't know if our opponent saw that. It looks like he did. Good attack, and we just want to move back. Let's attack again right now about. We're waiting a little bit too much. That's okay. I like that we're trying to go across. I think you tried to come this way, but then you remembered, oh, my racks are over here, so I probably don't want to go over here, and pulled away to the top, which is good. I do like that. The proxy location, I think, could have been better. I feel like maybe a wolf would be able to see it if they're right over here going down the ramp, so probably would have proxied it a little bit, like maybe here or something, but little detail, not a huge issue. Well, let's see how the Raider micro is. I hope you are also aware that it is a 2 Den by the number of dens. Good micro, we get that. Excellent, very nice. Nice, I like your Raider micro so far. Also, one thing to note is that once you saw that many wolves early on, you got to be thinking, where are those wolves going, right? He's only chasing with a single wolf. Where are the rest of the wolves? In this case, he's sending 2 of them across the map. And we should be able to defend with our workers. If we're not comfortable doing that, we can just throw it on a tower and we'll be fine. Okay, no, I don't think we got that shot off at all. Good target fire there. Good start so far. These wolves in our main base are going to be a little bit annoying, but they shouldn't do too much. Could definitely flash forward here. So I think what I'm noticing is that you're not using your flashes aggressively when you have the opportunity to do so. So when you had that single wolf over here, and yes, our Raider was kind of low, but we could have taken the opportunity to flash forward and get an extra hit. Right now, we can also do the same thing. There aren't any wolves nearby. We can also flash in, and if there are wolves by, we can flash out, right? So this is an opportunity to flash in, secure the kill, but it looks like we're not taking it. Also, we are supply blocked here. I don't know if looks like we're going to take a house now. Yep, there we go. So we're a little bit supply blocked. That's definitely not ideal. He's going to throw it on a tower. This is totally fine for us, right? What we can do, once we see this tower going up, this is like excellent. We'll just expand and play a regular game, right? Raiders don't get the bonus damage against towers, so we're not going to be able to bust through it, and he's also had it in a place where he's not going to be able to cover his natural. So we can just prevent him from getting a natural and take our natural of our own. Obviously, right now there's 2 wolves right here, so we do need to deal with that before we do so. But I think if we see this tower, we're feeling very happy. When we're going up this ramp, obviously we want our healthy Raider at the front, so it takes a little bit more damage. So we could have adjusted that when we were backing up, but we decided not to do that. We want to flash it away. There we go. Very nice. Yeah, so right now, we probably don't want to be attacking these wolves' dens. We want to be attacking the wolves, if at all possible. And, yeah, looks like Zelos is going to do a little bit of a counterattack. Hopefully, we're able to do... Ooh! Okay, flash forward. Does look a little bit risky, in my opinion, because there were a lot of wolves there. So, when I say flash forward, it's generally a good idea to flash forward if there aren't any wolves nearby. It's only like 1 or 2 wolves, and we can just flash forward and get the hit off, finish them off, that sort of thing. We're also being attacked here in our back. But if there's more, you do have to be a little bit careful. I feel like that was a little bit risky, but, you know, not the worst. We don't want to be losing that. Looks like we're trying to target down the worker. Okay, this flash probably is not the best idea. We flashed into the base when the tower is almost complete. We're also not dealing with this just yet. Probably should have been better just to take a breath and say, you know what, I'm fine with the amount of damage I've done, and just flash out. So before we lost this Raider, we've lost 0 Raiders to 7 wolves, and that is an excellent start. That is pristine, more or less, right? We're totally fine to just back off and say we've done our damage, we forced him to build a tower, he's not going to be able to take a natural easily anytime soon, and we just play a game from there. But I think we got a little bit too greedy. Maybe we thought, oh, we're doing so well, we can totally finish this right here, right now, and we flash in. Yeah, not gonna work out here. And if we lose all these raiders, that might just be the end of it. So I think right there we tried to target fire this one wolf. So it's best. Ideally, you target fire for sure. Looks like we lost a worker here, I think. Yeah, we did. Unfortunate. So ideally, we do target fire, but if it's difficult, which it definitely is, just a move. You know, it's better to get a uneven distribution rather than just, let's say if you have three raiders. It's better if your 3 raiders all attack different wolves than all 3 of them try to attack a single wolf and only get 1 shot off. You know, or even none. So we do get trapped. We lose the raiders. We flash in again, unfortunately. And we lose basically all of our map control here. We do kill the wolves here, but yeah, this is not the best start. Honestly, if we had just not gone in and flashed in that one time, if we just flashed out, I think we're totally fine. I feel like, yeah, definitely unfortunate here. Yeah, even with the worker deficit, I think it's okay. I think we just take a base and we get like the wolves in even and everything. I think we're totally fine. But yeah, now we've lost the raider critical mass. Now we're kind of dead, and also we're continuing to build raiders, even though we're not going to be able to find any damage. Yeah. I think we had him. We really did. We really did have him in this game. But I think we were a little bit too desperate to end the game right there and then. Good micro. Yeah, I think your raider micro, like the fundamentals of it is pretty solid. You probably want to flash that one back. Unfortunately, no. Okay, one also small little tip is that when you are fighting back, let's say you have your raiders, right? So let's say I have my raiders, and I'm doing this kiting thing, right? So I move back, right? And then let's say I want to come back in. It's time for me to come back in. What you can do is hold down Shift and click the weak raiders out. That will remove them from your selection, and then you can A moves, so only the healthy ones come in. So let's say these are all raiders, right? So I right click back, right? And then I do Shift click all the weak ones out, and then I A move back. And what will happen is that all the weak ones will continue going backwards. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. They'll continue going backwards, while your healthy ones will A move back into them. So that's just a little tip on how to micro. That's generally how I like to do my rated micro. Well, another way you can do it is move back and then deselect, hold down Shift and click your units that are weak, and then A move back in. You don't have to do it like that. Another way you can do it is you move back, right? Let's say you have some weakened workers, then you take that, and then let's say you move back, you take the weak ones, you flash them all out individually. That's also a way, but yeah. At this point, it's kind of over. He's going to be able to get this castle up. We're not quite in a position to do so, unfortunately. But yeah, I like that we're poking here at the front. Just trying to deny this as much as possible, delay it as much as possible. Unfortunate that we don't get a hit there. Nice kill. And here, even while you're doing this, you can also move your weak raider back. Generally, yeah, just that sort of thing. Ooh, unfortunately, we attack our own raider too. No. That sucks when that happens. Yeah. He's going to go for a fortress. We're not going to be able to do this. Unlucky. It happens. It's fine. We're learning here. We'll get to. We'll get there. I think both games here we really had good chances. I don't think any of these were like complete stomps, as you might say. I think if we were just a little bit more smarter with our play, we definitely could have had both of our games. Yeah, he's gonna be forced to throw it on a tower, but all the same. It's not gonna work out. Maybe, I don't know. I do like that we might actually just get this castle, and that's actually pretty good. That's a pretty big pick off here. Nice. No, are we not going to get this? That'd be disastrous if we don't get it. Because we've invested so much damage into this. Probably we've invested like 22 points. Like maybe even 3k damage. I don't know about that flash. But we do trap all the workers. I mean the wolves, which is very nice. But the fact that we invested that much damage into the tower or into the castle and we don't get it is pretty huge. Like imagine if all that damage that we were doing was actually onto the wolves. Right, then that would have been even better, I feel like. Or maybe, yeah. Unlucky. The tower is up. We tried to take a base, but the wolf was already there. We're able to pull this back in time, though, which is nice. Yeah, we're playing a little bit from behind here, though. But hopefully we're able to get it. A small little thing, if you have the APM, when you're attacking this sort of wolf, you try to get us around first and then attack it. But yeah, there's going to be a dragons out, and we don't have anything against that. I think that's going to be it. I like that you try to come in and do the scout. Yeah, unfortunately, we can't do that because there are 2 towers. Now we come and see the dragons, but the dragons are already on our side. Yeah, that's going to be it. Good try. But yeah, I think, a lot of lessons to be learned. I do think both of the games were pretty. I just want to go back to the first game, actually. I kind of want to see how close we were to actually, like, what would have happened if we actually ran across the map and potentially did some damage here. So, like, because I really do think we had an opportunity to fight, right? I think we had the more crisp opening. We had a crisper opening. We had our second racks up faster. We had our castle up faster. Yes, we did cut a worker, but that's okay. Yeah, well, I don't really mind about that either. We have the second, yeah. And I think I just want to see what happens if we actually go across the map with our first priest. Because I really do think that we can actually win there if we did do that. Yeah, so like right now, let's say we go across the map right now with, what is this? This is 9 archers, a priest, and a raider, right? It's an even-ish fight, but the thing is, if you keep your units alive, you can heal them up, and your opponent can't. So, if we go across the map right now, I think we can definitely win. And this is when he's actually throwing down the towers too. We would have fought before towers as well, and that's even better for us. Maybe it would be finished by the time we arrive, but yeah, I really do think we had an opportunity here. I think we had an opportunity in both games for sure, but I think a little bit of indecision and the mental stuff in our decision making was probably the biggest factor we lost here. But yeah, good effort, good try. Let me know if you have any questions, and hopefully this was a little bit helpful. And yeah,